we have to embody, we have to empower ourselves to become those leaders, right? In order for us to attract leaders, right?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So when, Alvin, you decide that ego that we all have, if you surrender to it, it's going to be a better way. And what message you have for your fellow fashion designers that they still have ego-centric and empty pocket? Because I can introduce you lots of them. In London, we have hundreds of those ones.
Oh, yeah, no, London is like, well, I heard someone told me very early on that said to me, no ego, amigo.
Oh, wow, that sounds amazing.
You know, it's like, that's like it's an important thing to understand that a lot of times ego is in the way, right? And the ego is not your amigo, you know? And so I feel that a lot of times you have to learn when to listen, because you don't always have to listen either.
I agree with you.
My biggest mistakes actually has been the best things that I've done is listening, and the worst things I've done is listening. Because not everyone that comes into your business or that comes into you and gives you advice knows what they're talking about. And they might be
have to be qualified to give you the advice. I learned this one in the hard way also.
And the thing is it's not that they're not qualified, because a lot of times where you don't trust yourself is because that person is successful, right? A lot of times the people are giving you bad advice is successful people.
Oh, wow.
Because
they want you to fail. Oh, my God.
They might be successful in their business, but they're not successful in my business, right? So someone who might be a successful lawyer might not have good advice for me because I'm not practicing law.
Definitely have to be in your industry, yeah.
So you have to walk like a definite line. I always ask advice. Since I was young, I always advise, oh my God, like, you know, even like investors, right? Like a lot of times you go to an investor, you don't even ask him for money, you ask him for advice. And then you explain to them what you're doing. Oh, who do you have that you could recommend? And then sometimes they're like, well, I
give you.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're not asking them. So a lot of times you have to, but advice is very tricky because you got to know when to implement it, and you got to know when to just take it with, you know, what they said, like a grain of salt, right? So a lot of times my biggest mistakes and my holdbacks are listening to people who I thought, well, they're successful, they know what they're saying, so maybe I should do this. And it actually holds me back. So you have a real instinct, not ego. It's two different things. Having ego and putting that aside, but having instinct of salesmanship, of business savviness, then go with that instinct, no matter what everybody else is telling you, right? Because that's really what makes you apart from everybody else. So the instinct, sometimes learning to hear your instinct, right? It's much more important than hearing someone else's advice. But you also have to hear everybody's advice, because a lot of times you got to take like a little bit of this and, you know, you throw into a pot and you make un arroz con pollo, you know, like. So, for those who don't know, the arroz con pollo is chicken and rice, right?
Chicken and rice.
And so I think that a lot of times, you know, you have to listen to your voice too, you know, without the ego, putting the ego aside. And I said, I think the ego is like really, honestly, you know, I work with a lot of people that work with me and, you know, they have to do some things, heavy lifting, et cetera, et cetera. I'm always there because it's like, yeah, is it beneath me to do that? I'm a designer, I'm a fashion designer, I don't do that. Like, no, we're a team. This is my business.
And we're doing this together.
We're doing this together, you know, it's like, and so it's important that your team sees you as part of that growing group. And I think like, well, one of the things that I have today is like an amazing team that really stand out there and they really make a difference for me because they believe it and they take ownership on it. So that's the next level. I think when you can bring in a team that also takes ownership of the business, you know, you give them that ownership, whether, or give them some like equity in the business, whatever small it is, to give them that ownership and to really believe in you. You know, I think that's really important too.
So Alvin, but let's face it, you didn't sign up for this. You are a fashion designer. You love your pros, you see that you create, right? But now you realize that as the business grow, now you have to become a leader, and you have to surrender that ego to become a leader and to develop leadership in your organization. When I have my first business, like I shared with you, I was telling everybody what to do, and then when I surrender my ego and I allow my team to, when they came to me, Harry, we have these 3 problems. I said, okay, choose 3 solutions. Okay, pick your favorite, try it out, and if it works, well, if it doesn't, it doesn't. And I start to do this with all my team to the point that they didn't need to speak with me anymore. They have a problem. They will come with 3 solutions. They will choose which one. They will try it out. And when they come to Harry, look, we had the problem, and this is how we solve it, like this, blah, blah, where's financial and everything. And little by little, I achieved in my organization that paradigm. And it was magic. It was so magic that one day, like I told you, one day I arrived to the office and they told me, Harry, go home, travel the world if you want. You come here. And I remember I was telling my manager, but who's going to get you the paper in the photocopy? And she was telling me, Harry, we can get our own paper in the photocopy. Don't worry about it. Just go home. I would go to see you once a month, and I tell you, report the business. It's fine. Let it go. And the first day you feel a little bit like, did I get obsolete in my own business? But then the next day you say, wow, I can't imagine that somehow I create something that have their own life of its own, and it doesn't need me. So, but Alvin, you didn't sign up to be a leader, to encourage leadership in your organization. You didn't sign up for any of this. You signed up to design clothes. So how this transition happened in your life, and how you realize that, oh my God, I have to, a lot of people ask me all the time, Harry, I want leaders in my organization. I want leaders in my organization. I was telling them, if you want leader in organization, you have to become a leader yourself. Because leaders attract leaders. You will never. So when you realize, oh my God, this is, as we scale, it's not only about fashion design anymore. It's not about pants anymore. It's about leadership and develop leadership. So you have this, what you won't end up with this wonderful thing that you have if you were not a great leader. So tell us about this transition.
So, you know, it's not necessarily a linear thing, right? I think that a lot of times you have to bring in the leadership from the get-go. You can't wait for the perfect partner to come in and say, oh, I'm going to take the side while you can be creative. You got to start wherever you can start, right? It doesn't matter how scrappy it is. It doesn't matter how, you know.
And we make mistakes on the way. I make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
People stole money from my business. If I tell you stories.
No, but it's true. But that's part of business, right? Part of business is going up and down. Like it's not just one place. You know, you have to go up and down. And I feel like a lot of times people sold me the idea that I wasn't a business person. People for many years were like, but you don't understand because you're not a business person. You're a designer. You're a creator.
Oh, you are not, my friend. You're a great entrepreneur. You're speaking today like a great entrepreneur.
Thank you. But, you know, I didn't always believe in that, even though I did believe in that, because when I first started, I was on my own. I started alone, right? And then at some point, I did get people to join in and partners who joined in who did take that from me and were amazing. But then when they sold, I became used to that, right? To that model, to that business model, having a business partner. When he sold out of the business, then I kind of floundered because I nobody was really paying attention to the business, and I was focusing too much on only the creative. So I think that, you know, a lot of times it takes a little bit of time. And I just spoke to somebody else, a friend of mine who's the most successful hairdresser that I know. He does everybody's hair from Eva Longoria. I mean, everyone. Victoria. I mean, everyone that any celebrity you can imagine, Oscar winner, you know, he does their hair. And he works with me. He does all my shows, whatever. And, you know, and I was telling him this morning, I'm like, you can't wait for somebody, because he was like, but I'm not a businessman. I'm like, yes, you are. You are a businessman. You are not just a hair cutter or a hair colorist. You are
100%.
you are a businessman. Once you like empower yourself in that and you figure out, let me learn how to do this. Let me learn what is it that I need to know in order for us to have a successful business, and so it was funny because I actually had that conversation with him today. And so, yes, a lot of times we have to empower ourselves to become those leaders, right? In order for us to attract leaders, right? Because the leader doesn't want to be with somebody who's just like floundering and whatever,
Leaders attract leaders, yeah.
Exactly. So, and sometimes like, I'm in a really huge public lawsuit right now with this, these people who, wanted to tell me how to run my business. And I was like, I have to say, like, I've been in business for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. Like, you have never been in business. You're a housewife that pretending to be a businesswoman. You're a housewife. You can't tell me what I need to do when I don't need to do, And so it takes sometimes, and I'm a huge lawsuit. And listen, I'm not saying to people to get into lawsuits, but I own that. I owned my voice, right? And sometimes that could be costly as well. But it doesn't matter. How would I feel if I would have taken her advice and gone a different way and gone, it would not, I wouldn't be where I'm standing now, So you have to, leadership comes with attacks. It comes with, and people don't sue someone because you're a loser. They sue you because you're successful and they want that.
Absolutely.
So that empowered me even more because I'm like, okay, I'm in this huge lawsuit. It's costing me
Yeah.
But they want something from me that they can't have. And what they can't have is me. At the end of the day, anyone can do what I do, right? But they can't do what I do, how I do it. So it's important.
They will never cope. They're not you.
Exactly. And so, it's difficult because these people want to be you. They want to embody the customers that are coming into my atelier. They want to embody that I'm opening multiple locations. We just opened last week in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
I was looking for a store in Chicago and I'm like, well, Chicago's a good market. We've been testing it a lot. We have a lot of clients there. And I never thought we were going to open in front of Chanel next to Tom Ford. Like,
wow.
In Chicago.
Amazing location.
And exactly. So, because what's my clientele? My clientele is very high end. She's a high end customer who likes craftsmanship, who likes well-made things. She doesn't want just anything, And so it's important that you understand that you have to be where they can see you, where they feel that you should be at. And so that's important too, So part of leadership is tying all of those things together, is believing it. It's waiting a lot of times. It's waiting for the right moment, but it's also being able to embody the leadership, right? Even if you have to fake it for a little bit.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.